as a talent, Adrian Lewis is one of the greatest this game has ever seen. There is no more free-flowing, natural action that anybody could possibly wish to replicate in the early days of Adrian Lewis's career. He was something special when he got going. But I think through injuries and there's potential to throw in a bit of mismanagement in there, as some other players have experienced, he's not the same Adrian Lewis that won back-to-back World Championship titles and reached another World Final. There's an argument to say that actually, when he did reach that last World Final against Gary Anderson, he wasn't the same Adrian Lewis. And he's been chasing that for an awful long time now, through injuries, through personal difficulties, on the board, not quite producing, showing glimpses and then dropping back off, never quite settling with equipment. For someone who throws such a basic dart as well, he has had so many minor little adjustments to that barrel over the last few years. He has just been chasing a level that I'm not sure exists in him anymore. And when you've been at that level, and this is still your life, and you can make a steady living doing what he's doing, but not the living that you had or the lifestyle or anything like that, readjusting and getting used to that when you still approach the game with the same mentality you had 12, 13 years ago when you're winning world championships, is an incredibly difficult process to go through. And I'm not sure what's triggered this step away from the game, if there is something going on in his personal life as well as struggles on the board or anything else that goes along with it. But there is a big fear in me right now that that's the last we've ever seen of Adrian Lewis in the PDC. The tour card race, he is 38, 101,000. So he's not going to lose his tour card at the end of the year. So if he wants it, he's got 18 months to go back to the tour. Whether or not, however, how late he comes back within that 18 months depends how close or how difficult it will be to retain that tour card, if that is his decision. He's still 38 years old, right? He's still the right side of 40 when you think of the success that players have had at 50 and above. Peter Wright, Simon Whitlock, Gary Anderson, Phil Taylor. There's still plenty of time in terms of the sport. Johnny Clayton's 48. He's had the best years of his career in the last 5 years. Like, there's still time for AD Lewis. It's just, if you look at everybody else in and around the sport, AD feels like he was the very first of players he's a generation where this has been his entire life. And that is an awful long time. Phil Taylor did it for an awful long time, and a few others did. But you look at others and go, right, when did you start playing darts? When did you start playing darts? And a Steve Beaton, we'll say, I was 20 years old or whatever. It feels like AD Lewis has been doing this since he was 10. It feels like he was one of the first that goes, I can make something of this from the age of a child, and pushed and inspired to do it when everybody else is out playing football and all sorts. And look, we've got the JDC and the development tour and all of that alike. But because he's been doing it for so long, we forget just the fact that he is under 40, but it's taken up over half of his life as a professional dart player right now. That will take a toll on somebody. We're not naive enough to think that things like alcohol doesn't exist in sport. If you've been drinking in a sport as frequently as dart players do, and as often and to the volume that dart players do for over half your life, that's going to take a physical effect on your health, as well as the mental effect of getting yourself up for World Championship finals 10 years ago and actually walking into the Robin Park in Wigan going, I've got to play a Pro Tour here, potentially for a couple of £1,000 at best, because I'm not playing well enough to win it.
Vond jij deze video leuk en wil je als eerste op de hoogte zijn van nieuwe video's? Abonneer dan op het kanaal van 433 Darts.